dum 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 dum
Space between space between space between space between. Hello there.
We were laughing last time, my wife, Amy Shand, and I,
We were?
because last time I started with a Tupac quote, and the quote was this: Mama told me never stop until I bust a nut. And we had previously been talking about how long it takes Amy to respond to things because of her marijuana habit, right? And the way it went was this: I'll be both Amy and myself. Myself, Amy. So here's how the podcast went. It began: Mama told me never stop until I bust a nut. It took so long for it to
Maybe I was
register.
just not listening.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
But wow, you know?
Yeah.
I'm Pat Shand.
I'm Amy Shan.
I just want to I want to get this off of my breast because this has been something I wanted to say the past few podcasts and I forgot to say it.
What?
But I want to say that when I create comic books, when I am hired as a writer, I'm a good promoter of those. Mm-hmm. I promote them very well. Unless there's a book that recently came out of mine that I didn't promote. And that's because of a few reasons. I want to say, I can't say what it is, but I wasn't given a chance to even proof the words before it was sent to print. I didn't see one bit of art before it was sent to print. And it's a company that no longer even... So I just want to say, if there's a book of mine that you see that I haven't even posted about once since this came out, that's why I do that. Okay? Fucking... I'm a good promoter, and I'm a good guy, okay?
Okay.
Why are you being this way?
I just don't know where it came from.
No,
That speech.
I told you where it came from. I've been wanting to say it for the past few weeks.
Okay.
And there was something that I didn't promote.
Okay.
So that's where it came from.
All right.
You've already insulted me.
No.
You're supposed to be my... You said nope. You're supposed to be my ride or die.
I'm riding right now. I'm on here.
No, you're dying. Because what should be happening
dying.
what should be happening is this, right? I'll be you, okay? So this is me and this is you. I'm a good writer. I'm a good guy. If a book that I worked on comes out, I promote it.
Okay, what you just said?
Unless. And then you say, unless what? And then I go, unless these egregious reasons right here. You say, yeah, bitch, is what you say.
If you want me to be that way, you need to write me a script. Because that's not the way I am.
You should be that way
even
naturally.
off camera.
I know. You should be that way naturally.
No.
Why? Have my back.
It's not who I am, but I have your back, but in a different way.
Describe how the way.
In the way that I'll murder someone who's mean to you.
Right?
I'm the only one that's allowed to be mean. As you say. You say I'm being mean and insulting you, so...
No.
You said I'm already insulted.
Right.
And I'm allowed to do it, but no one else is.
You've lost the topic. I want you in my speech. The publisher I want.
Okay. I guess I just don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about and I'll bleep it out.
Okay. Gotcha. And I'll bleep it out.
Oh, I'll bleep it out, right? I don't like that.
Yeah.
Right?
I get it.
When we publish, we treat these not peasants, these freelancers fairly, okay? Mm-hmm. It's time for a change, okay? And I'm not going to promote bullshit, okay?
Gotcha.
That's where I'm coming from, fuck, okay?
No, I totally get you. Yeah, definitely.
Why are you being this way?
What do you mean? The fuck?
I feel like you're being away. Okay, we're inviting our guest. We have a special guest today. I'm only going to talk about him once he's in QU, right? And that's really pronounced Q, but
yes.
they shouldn't put the next U, right? It's spelled Q-U-E-U-E. To me, figure it out, put only the one.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
But yes, recently Pat was asking for guests to email him or reach out to him if they had interesting stories to tell about things they've done in their life or anything along those lines.
Yeah.
We got some pretty cool responses.
That's
and
right.
This is is that how you want me to be?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No.
Today, this is going to come as a surprise to you all, but my wife got a haircut.
I got my hair cut. It's actually not my favorite haircut that I've gotten, but it's similar to every haircut I've gotten, so it's not bad. It'll grow out naturally. Like, I can see the cowlick a lot right here.
Well, yeah, what did you want?
That's just the way my hair is, so I just have to be used to it. And as it grows, it looks more natural.
Well, I noticed that. I know he's there. He can wait, okay?
Right.
We're disrespectful here. I noticed that you didn't seem to be thrilled with it when you come home. Like sometimes, like you come home and you're dancing about it. Mm-hmm. But I think you look great.
Thanks. This time I like the way it feels more than the way it looks.
I think that
it doesn't look that different.
It makes me want to go there and be like, give me the wife, right? and
we'll have the same hair.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna admit our guest now. 3, 2, 1.
Wow. You're getting used to Zoom, huh? Oh,
Am-
he's
am I?
outside. He's outside. Nice.
Hey, can you hear us?
Hey, yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, got the cigar. Oh shit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's totally like I didn't do it like for the podcast. I was just like I lit one up like because I wanted to sit in my backyard, and then I was like, oh shit, I got that. So
Got you.
That's a great idea. This is a celebration. Thanks for coming.
Oh yeah.
yeah, right.
So
No.
what I'm gonna say is this. What we do when we bring in guests, we're already rolling before you come in, but it's not live. So I'm gonna ask you a question right now, and if the answer you want to be bleeped, I'll bleep it. Okay?
Okay.
Is there anything that you don't want us to ask? Because what you told us about right now is kind of a wild topic, and it would lead to kind of wild questions. So I just want to make sure that you're cool with any kind of questions, and if not, just say it now, and I'll bleep it out, and I'll put a picture of my
Right.
cat over your mouth so no one knows what you're saying.
I'm probably pretty cool with everything. Like, you know, I'm not going to get into like kind of intimate details about like my,
Yeah.
you know, as far as like, you know, anything related to that goes. But, you know, I just mean like, you know, we're talking about like fetish clubs and BDSM stuff. So
Yeah, how
you
you
know,
were a
I'm
security
totally
guard.
open. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, so everything's totally cool. It's probably like would like if you were like not answer that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
we would ask that.
No, yeah, I mean,
I don't think.
I've asked crazy things, but not things like that because
Right.
I mean, one are the audience, you know, so we want to ask
Yeah.
crazy relevant things, you know. So yeah,
Right.
it's cool, man. Your name is
You know,
Rick.
one thing. I don't think it would be a problem, but the name of the club was. I'm not sure. I know they don't operate anymore in New York, but I think they still operate in LA. So maybe you might want to bleep the name if I happen to say it.
I
Okay,
will.
sounds good.
And in fact, just so I remember to bleep it here, I'll say again something that I'm going to bleep on my own thing. I was just complaining about how I had a bad experience writing for, and I'm going to bleep that.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so there,
Make sure
so
you
there we go.
catch it there.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right. So I'm going to have you introduce yourself and welcome to the podcast. I know you as Rich, and should I try your last name and see if I get it right, or do you want to just go for it?
Sure. I mean, what I've been telling people to way to pronounce your last name, and I'm shitting you not. It took me like 20 years to figure out something easy to tell people.
Yeah.
But just pretend that the O is not there. If you're reading it Duek, Douek.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's about what I was going to say. Nice. Sick.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I know. It's like I have this conversation with everyone at some point, so don't feel bad.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
I taught for a while, and I've experienced all kinds of names, so I tend to guess pretty well. So we have Rich Douek in the house, right?
There you go.
Boom.
Perfect.
There we go. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pat. This is Amy. And yeah, we're excited to talk to you about this.
Yeah, I am too. Sorry.
That's okay.
So should I introduce
Yeah,
myself,
please.
like what I do? Okay.
You can introduce yourself, promo any works. We'll give you a chance to do that now and also at the end of the podcast.
Okay. Gotcha.
We're going to go till about 5:45. We'll do the promo stuff like the social media at the end. But if you just want to say who you are and what you do and why you're here, that'd be great.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
Oh no, don't be sorry, dude. I mean, we on this podcast, we really just shoot the shit. You know,
we're very far from professional.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it.
Yeah, like this is I'm gonna give you an example of our soundboard just so you get a sense of what we do.
Hold on, I got a fight, y'all. Listen, hold on.
Yeah, so there's no need to be sorry about anything. We're just gonna
All right, I'm ready.
All right, go ahead.
Go for it, man.
Hey guys, so my name's Rich Douek. I'm a writer, write comics, written Road of Bones and upcoming Sea of Sorrows for IDW. I've also written Wailing Blade and Gutter Magic. And I'm here because Pat asked for interesting things about ourselves. And for a brief time in my 20s, I was a bouncer at an underground fetish club in New York City. So
that sounds so intriguing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Seen some stuff, yeah.
And I love IDW, so that's really neat.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And I want pictures of Spider-Man. That's why I have my cigar here.
Okay, so we were thinking earlier, like, man, I have so many questions, but now I'm like trying to think. So, you were in New York City, and were you at the door, or were you kind of like inside as a bouncer around like the people on the inside, or were you like IDing people at the door?
Yeah, it was more like this place was, I don't know, it was on like probably like the 5th or 6th floor of like a nondescript building. So there was an elevator. So basically like my position was at the elevator. And they didn't have me there every day because, you know, your typical day or night, like, you know, they could maybe see like 1 or 2 clients or whatever, and they had like regular staff for that. But then they started throwing parties, monthly parties, where they would have like a lot of people there. So they felt like they needed a little extra like door security because they weren't vetting people as carefully, like, you know, who is like allowed to go and stuff like that.
How much is a lot for that kind of club? Because like sexually, I picture like 2 to be a lot, right? So
right.
so what would be a lot for this kind of club?
So I'd say there were probably, your typical night would have like 25 to 30 people, but the way it worked, there was kind of like a big main dungeon room, right? That had like a lot of, I guess, torture stations, you know, like there would be like places there. But the room was more kind of like the party room. It was like, you know, there were like some refreshments and people were there to mingle. And then they had some smaller private rooms where like the whole idea of the party was, because this was a business, you know, the whole idea of the party was you hang out at the party, mingle with some of the dominatrixes, and you know, you buy a private session. So then you go disappear into your room for like an hour or however long it is, do your thing, go back to the party, maybe do it again, stuff like that.
So it's kind of works kind of like almost like a strip club in a sense that you're like hanging out in a social setting, and in that setting, like in that main room, do the dominatrix have like a show that they're putting on, or are they just there kind of hanging? Well,
like there was always like a theme, and there would always be like kind of a show aspect to it, where either they would do something themselves, or maybe bring somebody up on stage or something like that, because there was like a small stage area. And but so you typically have like 2 or 3 of them on like show duty at any given time, but there were usually like girls came and went, women came and went. So I would say there were probably about 8 to 10 on staff at any given time. So the rest of them would just sort of like be in the crowd mingling.
Did they only employ women?
Yeah, they did. There was one guy who I believe was the owner's partner. I want to say husband, but I'm not 100% sure they're married.
Yeah.
But and he was kind of in the front office doing a lot of the bookkeeping and things like that. But pretty much everyone from the person who booked the sessions, the person who took like the tickets and stuff like that. I think I was the only other guy on staff there.
Wow.
And so that's when I heard like BDSM club, sometimes I think like, like people are gonna go into like this club setting where they're having a good time, and then they're just like not gonna know how to do something, and then maybe they'll get hurt or something like that. So the way you're describing it, it sounds better because it feels like there's someone who's always in charge that's like a professional sort of thing.
Yeah, they're professionals, and you get the occasional kind of couple who would come and like do scenes with each other, but that was generally like people in a committed relationship, so they would have their own boundaries and safe words and things like that. It wasn't really like a random hookup situation that you would like would find in like maybe like a club or something like that.
So the couple would book it.
I've been to parties like that too.
See, that's scary to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
you never know anyone, until you know them.
Right, because like what I'm wondering is what a scene entails, because there's a range of what I'm picturing. Like I'm picturing on the low end, there's the scenes from the Ricky Martin video "Livin' La Vida Loca," where they're like pouring some hot wax and like nipples and stuff. Or then there's the other like heavier sexualities, right?
There's a huge range.
Yeah. So like, what would a scene specifically entail?
Like a setup. What would one of those be?
You mean for like the stage show?
Or like one of the rooms, if it was set up.
Okay. Both, both the stage and the rooms. Because with the rooms, you said an hour, and like me, like I like I'm a schedule-oriented guy, so like 7 minutes and we're good usually. So like the hour seems crazy to me. So yeah, just break down what the stage versus the rooms would be.
All right, I have actually a couple of funny stories about the stage, because the first one I was at, like the mistress that was on stage asked me if I could go run and get her a pint of ice cream from the store, like down the street. So I was like,
she was hungry,
sure.
It's one of your job duties. Just go ahead.
Yeah.
It was like before it started or anything, right? So I go, I get the ice cream, I bring it, and by the time I'm back, people started to filter in. And it turns out there was a guy there whose fetish was being vomited on.
Oh, bro. Oh, my God.
So she just basically downed like the pint of ice cream and right on stage.
So she had something to throw up.
And it was pretty gnarly. I mean, like it was like,
I don't think of that as BDSM.
Sound gross,
yeah,
but
that's interesting.
It was like in and out, so it wasn't like this like festering horrible smell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was still pretty raunchy.
Yeah, I mean, it probably did.
It's probably his dream come true. Smell like strawberry.
Right. But
like
that's kind of like the extreme. That's like the most extreme one. Mm-hmm. Another one that was kind of extreme was they had all dressed up as nuns, like latex leather nuns, and did like a whole exorcist thing with like crucifix insertions and things like And that actually, there were a couple of the patrons had to walk out of the room, and I'm like, what's
for
going
that
on?
one?
Like, it's
probably because they grew up religiously and shit.
It was like a religious thing.
Gotcha,
they were like, you know, like, I don't, not that I'm saying they shouldn't do it. It's just like, I can't deal with it because it brings up too much religious stuff. But then, like I said, those are kind of like the extreme ones. Then there were other nights where it was just like, you know, get somebody up there and there was like a wheel kind of thing that you could get strapped to. So strap into the wheel and get flogged with like a flogger or caned with a riding crop or something like that.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
Yeah, I think of whipping and stuff. Like,
that's what I was picturing too.
One of my friends told me that one time as she does like promotional modeling and stuff like that, and also one time she was hired to like dress up in just like BDM stuff and just hold like a flogger, and anyone who wanted to would just whip them as they walked by.
Really?
At a convention.
Anyone?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Just like the way that she would do it to like anybody if they wanted to see like what it felt like.
Yeah.
And stuff. So I just thought that was interesting because some people, they're just straight up curious. Like I was gonna ask you, when you were working there, was it clear to you when someone had like never been to something like this before, and they were here for the first time?
You could tell kind of like there was like I guess kind of like two general types of people. There were people who were like kind of curious, like, you know, tourists, I guess, like that were like there just looking to see some shit and not really like, you know,
things you can do in NYC sort of.
Yeah. And then there were like the guys that would walk in and like they knew what they were there for. Like it was sort of like just a matter of time whether they worked up the courage to, you know, plunk the money down or, you know, I don't know, like it's hard to describe it. I guess it's like a look, like, because like you want like to talk about like the scenes, like the professional scenes, they could get like very, very specific, you know, like there was one guy who liked, I guess you'd call it dental play. Like he liked to, they had like they called it the medical room. It was made up to look like a doctor's office.
Oh my God.
So he liked to be kind of strapped into the chair and then have one of the dominatrixes like play like she was going to be pulling his teeth out, like an evil dentist.
Yeah.
Right. And I was talking to, I spent a lot of time talking to the manager because she was sitting up front, taking the tickets and stuff. So I just asked her, I was like what? Like he likes to get his teeth pulled out? Because this guy, every time there was a new dom, he would be like, oh, do you think she's strong enough to really like yank it out? Like there was like this whole like spiel he would go through.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what? Like he likes to get his teeth yanked? She's like, no, he likes the anticipation of thinking he's going to get his teeth yanked out. Like if they actually yanked out his tooth, he would probably flip out and sue them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He liked the whole kind of
he's acting it the whole time, yeah.
Going right up to the edge and thinking like she was really gonna do it, and you know, that's kind of what got him off.
And that must take acting skill too.
Yeah, I mean to suspend your disbelief too, to go in there and know that it's not gonna happen, but I mean, I'm sure that they put you through the motions and kind of make you even
Like, by like the sixth time, she's probably like, "Oh no, I'm for real gonna do it." Yeah. Like all the other girls, they didn't do it, but I'm gonna fucking do it.
Oh, that's like what you said is pretty good.
I'm about to get hired there.
Yeah. So all right, so that's what happens on the main stage. But what would go down in the hour-long room?
I feel like that's the room, the medical room.
Oh,
I'm saying
gotcha.
Because he had to pay for that experience. That was all him.
I got you.
Yeah. So he'll like go in the lobby and pick someone to do that for him, and then they'll go and do it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like there was a cross-dressing room where they had mirrors and a lot of like dresses and lingerie and things like that. That, you know, they washed and everything, but for that there was I believe there was like a wrestling room with like mats, because there were a lot of guys who were into getting dominated that way. And then there were a couple of rooms that were just straight up like what you picture in your head as like a dungeon, like, you know, with racks and restraints and things like that.
Torture chamber.
But, you know, really, what it really was is like, you know, if you had like some sort of fetish that was, you know, there was no like sex, you know, there was no,
that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Those were the rules. Like if the one thing I never actually got called into a room for, but the one thing that would have been if a guy touched one of the dominatrixes like inappropriately. There was supposed to be no genital contact at all. Even if like there were some dominatrixes who were they would what we call switches, where they would play like a sub role for a guy who is, you know,
I was gonna ask because
dominant. Yeah. And that's the sort of thing I think where like you know, I think there had to be like a little bit of like a trust relationship there beforehand. Right. Like you're not going to like walk in off the street and like be put in that situation. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I think it was sort of like once it was like a trusted client who they knew that, you know, it was not going to be inappropriate. Like some of them were comfortable, but you know, these weren't like, trafficked women or anything. They were professionals. They were like, they chose to be there. They didn't, they were sex workers, you know, but like, they weren't like, I'm saying like, it wasn't like they were like working off debt or anything like weird like that. It was like, everything was just like what they wanted to do, what they didn't want to do. Yeah. So there was never any like kind of, having them in a situation where they were feeling uncomfortable or something like that. But yeah, but like it was sort of like strip club rules. Like they were allowed to touch the clients. Clients were not allowed to touch them.
Yeah.
I think that's totally fair because they're already putting themselves in what might be a dangerous situation. But like I was telling Pat the other day, because Pat asked me the other day, if we weren't together, like, would you buy sex? And I was like, yeah, I don't have anything against that because, like, some people, I told him, they just, like to have sex and it's something that they're good at and they enjoy it. And I feel like if it's done safely, they should be able to make money. Like, if I'm able to make money acting and singing and writing, why can't this girl make money fucking?
Right.
You know? That's how I feel about it.
And then what did you say?
But then I said, no, I would just go to a bar.
Yeah, she said that she would never have to, you know?
But I left that out because it sounded very conceited.
Yeah, no, but I was
just trolling you.
I had to get it in there, though, you know? Now, have you, you said that you've only been called down once, you said, right? To bounce? But
oh, no. I said, like, I was saying that was the only thing really that would have needed me to come
gotcha.
out of the hallway into a room, like if somebody was acting inappropriately or somebody, it never happened on my watch.
I mean, that's good to hear.
Thankfully.
Yeah, that is nice to hear.
Now, have you ever had to at the door? Has there been anyone where you're like, not you?
No, not really. Kind of like the funny thing about it was it's probably the easiest bouncing job in the world.
Oh, sick. Nice.
Because 90% of the guys that are there are like, they went there with the goal to be submissive. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so it's sort of like if they even started to get out of line, the mistresses would just shut it down like immediately. And then I was sort of like, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm like a big guy or something, but it was just more of like, I think like they needed to see that there was somebody there.
Right.
Yeah.
That could like, you know, push come to shove, bounce them out on their ass.
You're like a big old Rottweiler. Like, I had a
Right,
Rottweiler
right.
growing up who never hurt a fly and never had to, but people would look
Right.
at her, and if she had to, she would kill you.
Yeah, it gives the visual idea of what could happen.
Security.
Like, yeah. So how tall are you?
The other thing. Oh, I'm 6'1", but I'm like three bills. I don't know. You see me?
I could tell you were going to be tall too, because like you're sitting down and you aren't that far below the tree
Right.
behind you. You know.
Don't stop.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, the other important thing, or the other thing that made it a very easy, relatively easy bouncing job was that there was no alcohol at these events.
Oh, okay.
And if somebody did show up drunk, then that was like, we wouldn't let them in.
That's
They'd be
what
like,
you-
just get
yeah.
back on the elevator.
Got you.
You know, but again, like I'm saying, I never had to physically force somebody out. It was just sort of like, sorry, you can't come in. And then there, you know, the couple of times it did happen, they complied without having to, you know.
Did the club
have
itself,
me out
like,
there.
advertise, or was it, because it sounds like it's really, like, hidden and, like, up high and stuff? Was it just,
Yeah.
like, word of mouth, like low-key? Like,
They had a website,
okay.
and they advertised in like, I guess at the time there were probably a few kind of like BDSM, like local zines and things like that. And I think they would also advertise like in the back of the Village Voice, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you know, Village
Yeah.
Voice used to have that page where it was like, or a few pages where it was like personals, and then it was like sex workers,
Mhm.
you know.
Personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real personal.
And then also I think like, you know, this is actually probably a good time to say how I actually got the job.
Oh, yeah.
It was because when I was at that time in my life, I was in the goth scene, right, in New York City. So I would go to these like goth parties, and there was a lot of overlap.
Mhm.
Like a lot of the dominatrixes were into that too. And I was friendly with a couple of them just from these like goth nights. And then my friend, let's call her Emily, she said that, oh yeah, you know, I do, you know, I do pro dom work at this place, and they're looking for somebody who, you know, do security. I think you'd be awesome. Like, you know, it's fun. Everybody's really nice. So I was like, sure, I'll check it out. And then I had like one night where I was like trying out, you know, just to see, and it was cool. So I just kept doing it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what I wanted to say, the reason I brought that up was because I think they kind of like did that thing too, where they would like in like the goth clubs, and then there were kind of like more open fetish parties and things like that going on in the city. So they might go to one of those and hand out cards or something like that, or flyers.
Yeah, I mean, truly, the dominatrix women themselves, they're kind of like, you know, they're entrepreneurial. They probably have their own business cards. You know, it's not like a business card for the building itself. It's like their name probably. You know, it reminds me. And then to like how you were saying, it's not like a brothel or anything by any means, because it kind of reminds me in a sense of like when you're a hairstylist or any sort of
Right.
you rent out a spot in a room and stuff, and you have a card, and that's your business. You just need somewhere to do it. Like, it would be my dream if I was a dominatrix to have an entire basement to myself and have my own business. But of course you can't do that. So a couple of you guys get together and you rent a building space.
Right.
Like, that makes sense.
The other thing is, it's like you don't have to like buy any of your own equipment. Like
Right.
the office
It's already there.
had like the office had like a wall with like every kind of whip, handcuff, like you know, you could think of.
There's like a library
it was, like,
list.
a ton of
You
stuff
check it
there.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes clients would bring their own stuff. Like they would have a bag of, you know, their special things or whatever.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What I wonder is this, like, all right, with what I do, if I'm at home writing and like I make a mess, I'll clean up the coffee. Amy works at a Massage Envy. If there's like a mess, it's like a paper spilling over, she'll clean it up. Here, there's like ice cream vomit. Whose job is that to clean up that?
Usually, there would be at least one person there. that was, I guess, what you would probably call like a long-term client, where the lines would blur, I guess.
Oh, they make him
like,
do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of her act.
That dude.
That's part of the whole thing. Like
that's genius.
From like yours or my point of view, it's like, oh, she's like, milking him for like extra work, but like from that dude or dudes, because there were several.
Yeah.
From their point of view, it was sort of like
a
bonus time. You know what I mean? Like Like
no,
so, yeah,
that's
like,
it's so weird how people's brains work.
There was always at least one or two guys who are like regulars who stayed up after to clean everything up.
Dude, that's
loyalty.
That is the best. That's my favorite part of anything that you said. That's so. I mean, it's funny, but it's also it illuminates something interesting about this.
How in charge they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right, we have a few minutes left.
I have another question.
That's what I want to ask you. If you have a last question,
I was gonna ask because I don't know if you did, but maybe you got to talking to the dominatrix because you worked with them and stuff. Did any of them have like day jobs, and was their personality like completely different from who they were during the day? Was it like a release for them?
I mean, I'm sure a few of them had day jobs. Like, I think they all had different names that they worked under. But like by and large, the majority of them were just total sweethearts, It was sort of like when everyone, like before it would start and after everyone would go home, it was almost like a play or something, you know what I mean? Like it's like you're all backstage, you're hanging out, you're joking around, and then it's like, oh, the public's here. Everybody has to act very serious, so it was like they would kind of put on their like, Iron Lady kind of like, mask, and I would be like, I'm the big scary bouncer,
right? And
then like we would all just sort of like play our role for the party, and then everyone would go home, and like we would usually be laughing about it like after.
It sounds like your job was pretty fun.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, it was. It really was. It was like
really interesting.
That's cool, man.
It was just sort of like once or twice a week, just hanging out with like really fun people and like just seeing some crazy shit. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's like because I'm a writer or something, but I am definitely like a people watcher type of person. Like I like to like go sit in a cafe and just sort of like eavesdrop and like see people and stuff. So this was like kind of like a way to like a window on like a world that was totally like alien to me and like super interesting.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, you know how when you play video games, on some games you can like select beginner, intermediate, advanced?
Yeah.
This sounds like advanced people watching, This like
sure.
That's a lot of stories that you're gonna like hang on to. Like the ice cream thing really sticks with me, dude.
Pat loves it.
It's great. It was a shock for me too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna go ahead and do it. Like we aren't gonna like run from here to Carvel or anything. But I will say it's something I never really thought of before. Like damn, that guy likes to get vomited on. Now, I want to let you, before we go, promote your socials, send our viewers to anything that you've written before. And also, too, after we cut off, you can DM me some links that I could put in our description.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so, on socials, I'm at Douek, on Twitter and on Instagram, which is RDOUEK. I have a Facebook page for my comics. That's facebook.com/guttermagic. And I also have a site, rdouek.com, that has a newsletter sign up.
Yeah. That
if you want to like just really to like stay up to date on like stuff I'm working on. I also try to do like tips from like my admittedly limited experience of like freelancing in comics and writing comics and things like that. Like I'm not trying to say I'm like Bendis or anything, but it's like if I have knowledge, happy to share it.
No, I mean, you've done creator-owned work through big publishers. I think that anyone who's listening who does want comics advice would do well to listen to what you got to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, so right now I have a series coming out. It's called Gutter Magic, Smoke and Mirrors. I think the first 2 issues are out. Third and fourth will be this month and next month. And then later in the fall, I have my second horror series from IDW called Sea of Sorrows coming out. That was originally going to come out in May, but it got pushed back because of COVID and everything. So we're going to have an exact date on that soon, but it's going to be like later this year.
Cool.
Really excited for that because I get to work with the same guys I worked with Road Bones on, and that was a lot of great fun to work on.
How long ago did the first volume of Gutter Magic come out?
First volume of Gutter Magic came out in 2016.
I feel like we have that.
4 years ago now.
Yeah, I think that we have volume 1. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So volume 2, like I said, just started coming out.
Cool. Congratulations, man.
And yeah, thanks. Pretty excited about that. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, everyone can find all those links in the description down below. I'm going to pop you out of here right now, but thank you for doing this. It was very interesting, informative, and about as wild as I hoped it would be.
It was so nice to have you. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for doing
thanks
this.
For reaching out
thank you
well.
guys. Thank you for having me.
Anytime, man.
I
Our
love
pleasure.
like kind of talking about that. It's just like one of those things. Like I have like a fun stories. So
You probably always have a story for every situation with that shit.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And if there's anything that you need to promote in the future, just hit me up and we'll be happy to have you back on.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Have a good night.
Yeah, thank you for doing
Cool.
this.
You guys too. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. That was cool.
That was super cool.
That was fun, yeah. Yeah,
I love how open he was too about all the questions.
Dude.
He answered everything perfectly.
yeah. I'm glad that he mentioned the no sex thing early on because I had some real wild questions.
Right.
Yeah.
I have so many like weird mental images now. Yeah. I feel like those ladies are bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's super cool.
Yeah, I feel like it's not for me. I would be too scared to
I feel the same.
to ever go there. But I'm very interested to know it, you know?
I love that. I love when people can express themselves differently and can find people that they can relate with.
Bro, book, book. Yeah, we're gonna cut off a little bit earlier. It's really we usually keep talking, but it's been a busy week.
Yes.
There's about to be a raid starting in Pokemon Go, and we have to order food for the night.
It's dinner time.
And I unfortunately hurt my little girl. I closed my cat Chi-Chi's tail a little bit in a door today, and I want to do penance. I feel so sorry. I hope that I'm not going to be going to hell for all these actions. It was a mistake, and I regret it immensely. And I'm going to end the podcast here. Thank you very much. I love you.
Space between.